Hi there guys, Sergeant Salt and Pepper here, formerly known as Plastic Ono Fan. I'm making this video as I sit here today sipping my coffee. I'm making this video for the YouTube Vinyl Community Facebook page. I'm generally kind of a private person. I don't share a lot of personal things, but as most of you know, I left the group, I left the community, I quit making vinyl record videos, and I talked a little bit about that when I returned to the group recently, but I figured I'd make this video to go a little more in depth and talk about why I kind of stopped making videos about vinyl records, why I stopped collecting, and why I'm getting back into it now. So I'm gonna try not to make this video too long, but sometimes I do tend to ramble when I make videos, so excuse that. But yeah, so I guess we should start with why I kind of stopped making videos, why I left the group, why I stopped collecting. I guess that's kind of where we should start. So yeah, about, I couldn't even give you an exact year, but I'm going to say about 4, maybe 5 years ago, I started getting this feeling in my mind that I wasn't happy, you know. I had all these records, but I had lost my love of collecting. I had kind of lost my love of, you know, listening to all my records, going out to like antique malls, thrift stores, half-price books, a lot of the places I used to go, even record shops, and looking for records. It just wasn't fun for me. And for some reason, I kind of felt like, how many records is enough? I've got almost 300. How many is enough for me? And I started feeling like they're just taking up space. I didn't look at it as like, oh, it's so cool that I have this many records. I looked at it as, geez, I've got so many records, like I can't stop buying them. And so I knew something wasn't right. And eventually I figured out that I was just really depressed. And it also turned out that I had some anxiety problems. And I had never been to a doctor before, you know, to see about that, because I think before that I was depressed, but I just didn't realize it. So I made the very difficult decision of selling off my whole collection and my turntable and my speakers. And believe me, it was not an easy decision. Like, I pondered over this decision for more than a couple of days. Do I really want to do this? What happens if somewhere down the line you want to start collecting again? Then you're not going to have anything. You're going to have to rebuild from the ground up. But I decided that that was what I needed to do at the time. I needed to get away from something that had been such a huge part of my life until I potentially was ready to go back to it in the future. Now, a lot of things have happened in my life over the past few years. Last year, I sadly lost my father. He had had heart problems on and off for years, and it was very sudden. It was a surprise. It was a shock to the whole family. And I'm still trying to deal with it through like therapy and other things. And that was another reason why I wasn't so eager to jump back into records, because you have to understand, my dad and I were real close. He's the one that turned me on to so many great kinds of music, so many bands. I mean, we got to do a lot of things. We got to see Phil Collins together. We got to see Rush together. We got to see Jeff Beck together. I mean, he was a big part in helping me kind of develop my musical tastes as far as like rock and metal. And so, you know, with my dad being gone, that was another thing where I thought, like, when I think about certain bands, I think about my dad. Like when I listen to Rush, I think about my dad because he loved Rush. And so I thought, well, if I ever got back into records and listening to Rush and listening to a lot of these bands, Stevie Ray Vaughan, he was a big fan of, it's probably going to just remind me of my dad, and I'm going to feel bad. I'm not going to feel good listening to the music. But, you know, after last year rolled around and things got so crazy out there in the world, as we all know, and still kind of are, you know, I started wondering if maybe the time was right for me to dip my toe back into the water and see if I wanted to get back into records. I was still kind of apprehensive to pull the trigger on that, but I started thinking, well, you sit around most days, you don't have much to do, you need to get back into some kind of hobby or something, because that would keep your mind occupied. That might take your mind off a lot of the negative stuff. So once I finally kind of pulled the trigger on actually buying a turntable again, that's when some of my fears and doubts started to go away, as I started to get excited about going back to antique malls and thrift stores and looking for records again. And I'm happy to say that even though it's still pretty early in the process, I have a lot of records that some friends of the family have given me, and ones I've gotten at the antique mall. And I'm excited at the prospect of getting to listen to all of these, because a lot of them are ones that I didn't previously own before, surprisingly, even though my collection had been really big. I've been away from it for long enough, and this could be fun to get back into it. So, of course, we'll all see how that goes, and since I'll be making videos again, you'll all get to share in that journey with me, which I'm glad about. So yeah, that's kind of been the reasons why I kind of got away from it. And I also kind of want to apologize. I know I don't necessarily have to, but I just want to take this opportunity to say, when I left the YouTube Vinyl Community Group on Facebook, I don't think I announced it. I don't think I said anything to anybody. I kind of just up and left one day, just quit the group. I know that considering the reasons behind it, I don't necessarily have to try to justify that, but you know, I do want to take the opportunity to say, you know, I'm sorry that I kind of just up and left and didn't really say much about it. I've made a lot of great friends through this community, and it's been cool getting to reconnect with some of them. When I sort of made my post announcing that I was back, just to mention a few here, there's too many to really mention everybody, but just to mention a few: Derek Higgins, David Horowitz. Oh, there's a lot of other people: Michael Adair, Ricky Hicks, Memphis Vinyl Jim and the Misses. My God. And even though I was away from record collecting for a long time, I would still watch a lot of people's videos. So I was never really that far away from it. Thank you all for watching this video. And I hope to make more videos in the future. And yeah, take care, everybody. I will catch you next time. Later.